The S209 is the most exclusive Subaru ever available to North America. We have the first video review right now on Driving Sports TV. Hey everybody, we're here in Massachusetts, where I'm enjoying some coffee. But soon enough, we are going to get behind the wheel of the all-new Subaru S209. It is the... you know what? How about I just show you? Born out of Subaru's Nürburgring 24 racing development team, the S209 is the most extreme STI you can actually buy off the lot. And since they're only selling 209 of them, it's also the most exclusive. The S209 is powered by an EJ257 four-cylinder boxer motor that has been upgraded with a number of parts from the Japanese-only S208. That includes valve springs, flywheel, and clutch assembly. This S209 also has a conical air intake and a bigger turbo from HKS that can produce up to 19.5 psi. Altogether, this setup is good for 341 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. Power is pushed through the standard 6-speed short-throw manual transmission to Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system, which also features a driver-controlled center differential, a helical limited slip differential in the front, and a torsion LSD in the rear. Under normal driving conditions, you're looking at a torque split of 41% to the front and 59% to the rear axles. Subaru rates 0 to 60 at 4.9 seconds. Top speed 162 miles per hour. EPA pegs economy at 15 city and 21 miles to the gallon on the highway. Though if you're hitting max speed, you're not even going to get close to that. The S209 has lots of carbon fiber bits standard, including the two-way adjustable wing and the entire roof panel. In the back is a trunk that can hold up to 11.8 cubic feet of gear. The second row even folds down for larger objects. Instead of a spare, you'll find a bottle for the intercooler spray under the floor. All that stuff is great, but it's not really what makes this car so special. For that, we need to get under the car, where STI has done a lot to improve handling. Though it uses a similar inverted design to the normal STI, these shocks are tuned differently, and they're fitted with lowering springs. In the trunk, if you just look at the pink bar, you'll actually miss what's important, and that's what it's protecting, the flexible draw stiffener behind it. There's another set under the front of the car as well. These pre-tension the chassis, making it much faster to respond to inputs. The brakes are similar to the standard STI, but now they're fitted with pads designed for circuit use. Tires are specially developed for the S209 by Dunlop for high-speed driving in sun and rain. Laugh at the vents all you want, but they are all functional. Even the side vent that pulls hot air out of the engine bay. Inside is an experience similar to the standard STI you can already buy, but there are some upgrades. The Ultra Suede cover wheel is brilliant, and it says STI instead of Subaru. There are also lots of cherry blossom bits. The driver's seat is power adjustable. Hit the power switch and you can also hear they reworked the exhaust system. The note is exclusive to the S209. For the tips, they had one of the top cutlery finishers in Japan do the work. It's so nice in the age of fake exhaust tips to have something that looks and sounds this good. The head unit is standard Subaru fare for the WRX STI lineup. It is a touchscreen that works pretty well, with support for XM radio, CD, and plug-in USB for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay support. As you can see, it runs the new iOS 13 CarPlay just fine. Above the touchscreen is a multifunction display that shows extra info about the vehicle. The S209 also comes with Subaru's SI drive system. This allows you to pick a drive mode suited to your driving activity. It does default to Sport, which is what they also recommend for the track. We'll get to that shortly. In addition to Sport, there's also Intelligent for commuting, as well as Sport Sharp for those 0 to 60 runs. The switches next to it control the electronic center differential, the details of which we'll be covering in our upcoming Subaru All-Wheel Drive Explained video, because honestly, it's complicated. Thankfully, there's also an auto mode if you don't want to mess with it. And with that, let's head to the track. On the way, I want to tell you about something much more exciting happening with Subaru Technica International. You see, this S209 is really the beginning of something much bigger. Let's take a brief look at the history of Subaru's STI division. It was initially put together as kind of a motorsport unit of the brand. And from what the work they did in motorsports, they ended up developing special edition cars. Not just the parts for cars, full-on cars. The very most famous one would be the 22B. You might remember that one. It is the mythical unicorn of Subaru performance cars. Never sold in the US because it was built specifically for the Japanese market. It was never crash tested, and the emissions were never done for US. So you cannot bring it into the US without some special kind of like race waiver. But to own one on the streets, you just can't do it. Fast forward, over the years, STI starts producing lots of home market cars, all cars that here in the United States, Subaru enthusiasts would pine after. There was the 207 and the 208, and they also made special edition, heck, they made a special edition Crosstrek. They kind of made special editions everything, and we never got those. One of the main reasons is because in many cases they would modify not just the aero of the car, but they would also modify the horsepower. Once you modify horsepower, now you have an issue with EPA being able to homologate the car for the US market. It became more difficult, and it's something that STI never really bothered with. So what we ended up doing for the US is we had Subaru STI, which came in 2004, which was a mass-produced version of an STI product. But beyond that, we never had anything that was, anything more than suspension tweaks, because that's what they could get away with when it came to importing cars. However, with this car, it marks not just a small shift in the way Subaru is doing business, it's a titanic shift. And that's because STI, as a sub-manufacturer of Subaru, is now homologated to be able to bring cars into the US. This vehicle is the very first time that STI has had their way with the suspension, the aero, and the engine output, and they're able to bring it into the US market. What that means, beyond just this S209, is that STI, yeah, they can actually start bringing in any special edition they want to develop for the US market. You want a STI Turbo Crosstrek, they could theoretically build that beast. If they want to have a higher output version of the BRZ, theoretically they can build that and now bring it into the US. It is a way for Subaru to bring in more special limited edition models because STI can do it now, which is like the coolest thing ever. And that's beyond just S209. But we're not here to talk about history. We're not here to talk about homologation business and all that stuff. We're here to look at this car, the S209, which is the pinnacle of the EJ257 development. For those who don't know, the EJ257 is the engine that is in the base STI. And over the years, it started at 305 horsepower. With the Type RA last year, it's been boosted up to 310. I know, don't get too excited yet. In this car, they've boosted it even further to 341. STI isn't about maximum horsepower. That's AMG's department. That's what AMG does. STI is about balance. They want not just the horsepower, but they want the all-wheel drive system. They want the handling. They want the turn-in. They want the aero, all to work together to produce a cohesive, comprehensive driving experience that is second to none. That's their raison d'etre. That's the whole point of the company in terms of the products that they develop. So have they successfully done that with this S209? Well, that's what we're going to go to the racetrack to find out. The thing that I'm noticing immediately here is the precision. I mean, it feels like it's a wound coil. I mentioned that earlier, and it's true. It feels like it's a spring that's just ready to release. The moment that you point it, it goes. And then you add power, and away you go. Now, this doesn't have a lot more power over the standard STI. You're looking at about 341 in this vehicle, which, you know, the standard, like the Type RA STI had 310. Still, it is enough to basically rip your face off in the corners. I don't know this course very well. This is my very first time here, so I'm still learning the corners. So apologies if you think I'm not taking a corner correctly. I probably am not. The heel toe placement is pretty good. I can really feel what's going on there. It's the grip though. Holy. The wing back there is actually functional. You're looking at more than 40 pounds of downforce at 75 miles per hour, probably a little more at the speeds we're hitting today. I'm getting up close to 100 on the straightaways. I use that all-wheel drive. And the turn-in is effortless. Honestly, when you try to build a fast Subaru, this is what you try to build. The only thing I would say is, yeah, a little more horsepower would kind of be nice. But already, I feel like I'm not a good enough driver to use what it has. So the drive setting that we're doing here is actually not Sport Sharp. And the reason for that is Sport Sharp is super aggressive. It's like an on-off button for your throttle. This is Sport, which is more progressive, which is what you want on a track, because you want progressive, repeatable, very easy to drive, and that's what it's doing. And our DCCD is set into auto minus. Why? I don't really know. It's the setting they told us to use, and honestly, I'm enjoying this very much. Oh yeah, super late apex. Let's get that throttle down. Oh yeah, super easy to match the shifts. Okay, so should you get an S209? Well, it might be hard because they're only making 209 of them. Do you want one? Yes. Yes, 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 yes you do. Hit it. Oh yeah. It's interesting that they use paddle shifters for the intercooler spray. The nice thing is that they're right where you want them. You can feel them. It's like, bam, intercooler spray. I don't have to like be searching for a button on the dash. They're right under hand. So right when I hit those straightaways and I need as much power out of this turbo as possible, I just hit the button and boom, gives me a little bit of extra power by cooling down that intercooler. Yeah, I got it to 110 that time on the straightaway. And I know people can compare numbers as to what they're able to do on this racetrack, but I mean, hey, it's my first time on this racetrack, okay? Give me a break. And there's traffic. No fade in the tires, no fade in the brakes, and I am not taking this easy. Oh, brake, rip my face off. The brakes have grab after grab after grab. Now, these brakes are gonna be loud on the street, and they are going to produce a lot of brake dust, but they're designed for days like this where you're jabbing them time after time and there's no fade. I would like a little more side bolstering in the seat. I feel like I am moving a little left to right. That's a pretty easy upgrade in the aftermarket, but it would be nice if they just didn't use the standard STI bolstering in these, because honestly, this has so much grip, you need to be sucked into the seat a little bit more. It's a good problem to have though, right? That steering, it's just so predictive. I can feel what the car is doing. Woo! Power comes on strong around 3,500 RPM, which is later than a standard STI. So a standard STI will be actually faster 0 to 40, but after that, yeah, forget about it. The STI is a nice cup of coffee. This is a quadruple espresso. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Dowd. This has been my first look at the new Subaru STI S209. It is an amazing piece of kit, and you want one, but you probably won't be able to get one because they're only importing 209 of them. That said, you might want to get in line early for the next one because I'm sure, as good as this car is, I can't wait for the S210. As of this video, pricing has yet to be announced. I would expect it to fall between $60,000 and $65,000. How much do you think they'll sell it for? Post a comment below. Also, give us a thumbs up and share our videos. We make them for you. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. We'll see you next time.